This is how I went from working a standard 9-to-5 job to building a multi-million-pound Amazon empire in just 4 years. My name is Jack Davey, and I have built my Amazon FBA business to multiple 7 figures per year in sales within the UK. I have a full team, a warehouse, and a growing business every single month that is set to do over £1 million per month in sales by the end of the year. And this might be a business model that some of you have never heard before, and that is called brand direct wholesale through Amazon FBA. This is where I will approach brands and manufacturers directly with the sole intention of opening up a trade account with them. I will then purchase these products in bulk and sell them directly on Amazon for a profit. Often I will be buying hundreds and if not thousands of units at a time, and these products are typically replenishable products on a monthly basis, meaning that I'm able to do all of the work up front once, and sometimes it can pay me for years and years to come. And you might be thinking, well, that's pretty insane. Jack, how can I reach your level of success? Well, let me tell you, just a few years ago, I was in the same position that you're probably in right now. Scrolling through social media, trying to find the best business model to start, because ultimately you want to do more in life than just go down the traditional route. And yes, I tried it all: drop shipping, Shopify, affiliate marketing, basically everything. And for years, none of it worked for me. So I know how you're feeling right now because I was once there myself. And in this video, what I'm going to do is break down my full journey, the skill, and how you can use it to achieve your goals and financial independence. I'm going to talk to you about my very first Amazon FBA product, all the way to building an Amazon FBA business that is set to do £1 million per month in Amazon sales before the end of the year. I will share everything that I've learned, all of the ups, all of the downs, and you will learn how to start from zero with no experience and how to spot opportunities that others can't. And this isn't just about my success story. It's a roadmap for you to live the life that you want to live if you watch this video to the end. So, my journey. It all started back in 2020 when I was on furlough during COVID, and I came across the business model called Amazon FBA. And it intrigued me massively for the main reason that I was able to leverage Amazon's existing marketplace and their delivery system. And by leveraging Amazon's logistics service and infrastructure, I thought it would be a great business opportunity for me to start and actually be able to scale properly. My thought process at the time was that I could scale up fast with low overheads and not really much startup capital. So I started doing more research and invested in a few online programs and simply just got started. In month 1, I did £15,000 in sales. I put all of the savings I had into buying some products, and I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was very lucky that they actually sold. I spent around £1,000 on my first order and pretty much saw the sales coming in instantly. So I doubled down and spent everything I had and more on the stock. For the first month or two, I did very, very well. But then by month 2, I had to go back to work as furlough came to an end. At the time, I was working 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. every single day, roughly about 6 days per week as a car salesman. Plus, I was commuting every single day, which meant that I didn't have the time to invest in the business that I had before. Now, because I didn't really know what I was doing at the time and I was in the early phases, I pretty much struggled to break past the 10K per month mark for the first year, despite doing 15K in my first month. At the time, I was spending all of my spare time crawling through Google, trying to find more products, and the rest of the time pretty much prepping the products that I was already selling. But I was just burning time sourcing, and I would genuinely sit here till 2, sometimes 3 a.m. in the morning, even though I knew I had work at 7 a.m. Just scrolling through wholesale after wholesale website, trying to find the next product. And yes, I was finding the odd product, but nothing ever really stuck. And I'd maybe be selling it for 1, 2, 3 months before a ton of other sellers just jumped on and it became unprofitable. So I knew something needed to change if I wanted to scale this business. I'd seen the potential Amazon had from my first month where I did 15K, so I was selling fast and generating the revenue. So one night I was speaking to one of my friends who I met through joining the online courses that I bought. And he basically said, why don't we just start cutting out all of the middlemen, aka like the wholesalers that we were buying from, and why don't we just go to the brands directly and work with them instead? And this at the time, around probably 1 year into my journey, was something that I'd never really heard of before or even knew was actually physically possible. My instant thought was that I'd need a ton of money to buy all the stock. The brands would have a really high MOQ, and that why would they deal with Jack, who's an Amazon seller from his bedroom, right, at 19 years old? Well, the next day, everything changed for me, okay? I went through all of my existing products that I had, and I contacted these brands directly, skipping out the wholesalers. Just 1 week later, I was able to open 2 direct to brand trade account where I was able to get the existing products I was already buying and selling around 10 to 30% cheaper than before with lower minimum order quantities. And this genuinely blew my mind and made me completely change the way I look at the business model. And that's when I really saw the opportunity possible. And around 3 months later, I got to a point where it allowed me to quit my job and go all in on my Amazon business. So I worked for around 3 months part-time before I fully quit my job because I was pretty cautious about jumping all in and growing it massively. But I was growing very fast. I was doing 20K per month, 25K per month, then 30K per month. And at the time was making over 25% profit margin. Things were going great. I quit my job, I secured my first warehouse, my first member of staff, and things were booming until I hit a barrier. I had to go VAT registered, which means my margins were dropping by around 5 to 10% straight away. I was also on some listings where the pricing was dropping due to competition, which was lowering my margin even further. And this was all at the time where container prices from China were at an all-time high because of COVID, which meant my product costs were skyrocketing. On some of my products, the costs was going up by 20, 30, 40%. On top of that, I now had significant business overheads, like the warehouse, the staff. So I remember my first month going VAT registered, I had no idea what I was doing. And I made a gross margin of around 3 to 4%. So things went downhill for me very, very fast. And this was my kind of back against the wall moment, okay? I knew I had to make this work. I just quit my job and invested into all these overheads. So I put my head down and I realized my mistakes and I got to work. I spent hours and hours and hours researching, learning, failing, and rinsing and repeating that process. And within just 3 months, I had built back up my margin and I was hitting all-time high sales per month. And within just 7 to 8 months after that, I hit my first 100K per month. And fast forward to today, where we are now doing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds in revenue per month. I learned a lot from this period because I faced a ton of different problems, which ultimately cost me a ton of money. And there was a lot of hardship, but with a bulletproof mindset and persistence, I was able to come through out the other end. The main issue that I had over the years was that I had nobody to turn to or no community out there that I could actually learn from. Everything I did was trial and error, and it cost me a ton of money and time. I have probably lost tens of thousands of pounds over the years making small little mistakes in so many different areas. And not only that, the journey was super lonely. I didn't really have a support system or a network around me, especially for the first 6 to 12 months after I quit my job. During my 5 years selling on Amazon, I have experienced so many issues, so many problems, and lots of money with simple mistakes. And this is all because I didn't have a community of like-minded sellers or a support system that I could get access to. Now, it's taken me around 5 years to reach the level of success that I've achieved. However, I genuinely, hand on heart, believe that if I had a good support system around me, I would have been able to do this 10 times faster. I would have made half the mistakes that I did, and my problems would have been solved so much easier. I've basically had to work all of this out myself through trial, error, time, and money. Now, this led me to creating the AMZ Blueprint around 18 months ago. I created this community with the sole purpose that it was exactly what I wanted when I first started my Amazon journey. A comprehensive program filled with everything that you need to start and scale an Amazon business, with pretty much instant access to any piece of information you could ever need in relation to Amazon, and any of your questions answered every single day. Like, imagine having access to a community of like-minded people who have already been on the journey that you're just about to embark on. They have already had the setbacks, they've already had the issues, and this is going to fast-track your progress by 10 times. I always say it, but you need to do whatever you can to be in proximity of those in the position that you want to be. And you should think of it as who, not how. Why struggle alone when you could be in a community of people doing exactly the same thing that you want to achieve? Now, what is the AMZ Blueprint? So I'm not really going to go in depth into the program in this video, but basically we teach all of the core pillars that you need to start and scale your Amazon business. So A to Z, everything that I use in my own Amazon business that has taken me from 0 to 500K per month in sales, you get access to. All of the templates, all of the processes, the systems, the scripts, contacting brands, negotiations, product sourcing, raising finance, system and processes, managing finances, raising capital, everything you need to run the business, because it's all the small things that matter. And most people who start Amazon, including myself, have never had any real business experience before. So we don't know how to do these small little things, like even just going VAT registered. And this is what makes us different to every other community out there. And this is what we teach because that's what works. It's a formula, a process, and it's scalable. It's repeatable, and much more importantly, it's what actually gets the results. There is no fluff. I'm not just talking about putting money into random, risky products that might lose you money. I'm talking about a proven strategy that allows you to mitigate risk and take on board sustainable products that are going to be profitable and last years. We are typically building great, long-lasting relationships with these suppliers, and it becomes more than just buying and selling their products. And we look at this business through the lens of it being a long-term, sustainable business. We want to be selling these products for years and years. We don't want to be doing all of the hard work just to have the product taken off us in 1, 2, 3 months. And we're not just going to be going to the run-of-the-mill wholesaler and buying their products to resell. Also, we talk about your ability to raise capital to scale. You could have the best products in the world, but if you have no money to buy them, then they're simply just numbers on paper. Because cash flow is one of the biggest bottlenecks for most Amazon sellers. But nobody in the Amazon space talks about it. And raising capital is not easy at first. It requires knowledge and a level of financial literacy to be able to raise the money, whether that's from a private investor, institutional investors, the bank, etc., etc. And for me, it's about sharing everything that I know and documenting everything here on this YouTube channel. The highs, the lows, behind the scenes, insights, everything to do with Amazon will be on this YouTube channel. Now, if you are ready to start this Amazon journey, use this video to kickstart your journey. Go out there, smash it to your success. Jack.